All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started with our speaker today. But before that, I'm going to introduce our day chair. And most everybody knows Dick, and he sent me his bio, and it was entertaining. So, so he gave me a business card description. It says retired, but he cites two items of occupation. Many of you know he also goes by the name of Black Diamond, and he calls himself Black Diamond Maturity Advisor. So he advises, gives advice normally done with a drink in his hand. He's a gravity sport travel consultant. I'm not sure what that means, but it's consultation normally done with a ski trip in mind. Beyond those part-time occupations, he does additional gigs. He teaches adaptive skiing for Courage Canine Rehabilitation Center. Has been doing that for 12 years. He also teaches golf for Courage Canine. And then he serves as the permanent admin assistant for City of Lakes Rotary, oftentimes at the desk. He's been with Rotary for 15 years. And lastly, with Jim Nelson, Dick has duties as designated agent for King Bavender, former president of City of Lakes Rotary, to work to elevate sartorial dress standards of City of Lakes. Please welcome.
That's my Jerry Garcia representation too. This program represents why I really like to go to these meetings, because I'm reminded once again of a subject at which I know very little or nothing. And so we have an opportunity to learn something. So here's my opportunity to introduce Patti Anderson. And Patti is one of the founding members of North Star Therapy Animals, and currently on staff at Agile Canines of St. Louis Park. Patti is a retired school counselor. She taught animal assisted therapy at St. Mary's University and is a C.P.D.T and pet Partners Evaluator. Okay. As a therapy animal educator, she has been doing therapy work and teaching classes for the last 20 years in 7 different registered therapy dogs, 2 rabbits, and 14 guinea pigs, and visiting a variety of venues. Also with her is Courtney Cushing Kiernat. Close. She's a therapy animal volunteer. She has partnered with 3 of her 4 dogs. Ruby is here today. As a registered therapy animal team since 2019. Together, they volunteer at the Hennepin Healthcare, where they visit twice a week with staff, patients, families, the ER, pediatrics, and ICU. They also have volunteered in Minneapolis Public Schools with special education students and at various community events. Please give a City of Lakes welcome to Patti and Courtney.
Thank you so much. Ruby, we didn't introduce you. We're very sorry. She's shaking us off. So she's a Bernedoodle, and how old is she, Courtney? She's 5, which is a Bernese mountain dog and a standard poodle combination. So, and she's very happy to be here, don't you think? Yeah, very dog-friendly group here. So I'd like to thank the Rotary on behalf of North Star Therapy Animals for asking us to present today. Where is Mary Pat? I've been emailing and oh, hi. Nice to meet you behind the emails. So thank you so much for submitting that. And it's really a double pleasure for me. I was a Rotarian years ago in Tacoma, Washington. I'm a Minnesotan. Moved out there for a year and stayed 14, and was a Rotarian out there before I moved back home again. So it's kind of a special spot for me to present today for this. So let me tell you just a little bit about North Star Therapy Animals. We're the largest nonprofit therapy animal group in the whole Midwest, and probably 3rd or 4th in the country. We have over 210 members, just like Courtney and I, with our animals. We're in 6 or 7 different counties, focused Twin Cities, but then surrounding all the way to Rochester, Buffalo, Stillwater, into Wisconsin, Eau Claire, Eau Claire, Mayo, we had teams out there actually, because we have members that live on the border of Minnesota. And we have 7 different species. So we have 6 or 7 llamas and alpacas, miniature horses. We have guinea pigs, rabbits, and cats. Anyway, cats are cats. Anybody have a cat? Just saying. Just saying. Okay, but we do have cats in our group, and there are cats that I hate to say this, more dog-like, for cat owners. They don't want to hear that, but yeah. So we have all those different species, which is really great because as a school counselor for 26 years, I wanted to be inclusive and instead of exclusive. And when I got a job in Hopkins, Eisenhower this is a little fun fact, is the very first school in the whole country that had a registered therapy dog. They were on, anybody remember Charles Kuralt? Am I really old here? And, Phil Donahue show and all those. And the dog was written up in, her name was Coco actually, in People magazine. So that was a little bit of history. So Hopkins Eisenhower was always really dog friendly. So I was there with 900 kids with my first therapy dog in 2000. I moved from Minnetonka being a counselor to Hopkins, and I learned the power of the paw. And so I'm going to share that with you here today. Okay, here we go. So therapy animals, they're pets that belong to their owners. Okay, we train our dogs. We go to different classes and whatnot, but we train our dogs. And I'm going to speak more about dogs because how many people have a llama or alpaca? Anybody? Okay, just saying. Okay. And so they go under rigorous training and evaluation with the group we're in. They're registered, and that's what the term is. Service dogs are certified. So any attorneys in a court of law, the term is certified for service dogs and registered for therapy dogs. And people misuse it all the time, and some of our people do too, but it is what it is. But that's what it's known as. An organization might certify a dog, like Helping Paws or Guide Dogs for the Blind. So let's see. All right. So just quickly, there's so much misinformation out there on the internet. Would you agree with that? Okay. And so a service dog helps somebody with a disability. They don't have to be trained by an organization. An owner can train them themselves. They don't have to be wearing a vest. There's no paperwork. Don't pay $300 to buy paper that says I have a service dog. There's no paperwork required. So I go at the VA, it's Homeland Security, and the police officers who are there at the welcome desk, the 2 legal questions you can ask are, is that a service dog? And what tasks does your dog do? You can't ask about the disability. Those are 2 legal questions you can ask. So if that dog's going potty on the podium, and it's barking and growling and pulling the person down the hall like on water skis, you have the right to ask, is that a service dog and what tasks do they do? And so if they say, well, I just like having my dog with me because I have anxiety disorder. Well, how many people here have dogs? Oh, what a dog-friendly group. Here's some rescues over here. If you want another one, you can chat later. So anyways, but yeah, so you feel good when you go for a walk with your dog? Yeah, we all feel good when we have our dogs with us. Nobody cares about Courtney and I today. You just want to go pet Ruby today. I know that. And so Ruby, no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings, but yeah, no, that's good. So, so the thing is, a service dog, a psychiatric service dog is one that performs tasks. So I work with PTSD veterans. I also did a 3-year program down at the Community Response and Counseling Center down in Minneapolis with homeless vets there in Hudvash and recovering alcoholics and drug addicts for 3 years with my dog. And so there's a lot of PTSD in that group. Okay. And the thing is, a PTSD psychiatric service dog in the middle of the night when you have night terrors will run and get the cell phone or the remote phone and put it on you, or they jump on you to interrupt that rocking. In crowds, they might move just without a command in front of you as people at the state fair coming closer, and it gives you a lot of anxiety. Then the dog will be trained to do all these tasks. So if somebody says, I just like having my dog with me, it's not a psychiatric service dog. Okay, so ESA animals are emotional support animals, and I'm sure we've all seen the peacock the lady tried to take on the airplane, and this turkey. I talked to the flight attendant. I was at the airport for a couple of years, visiting with my dog, and a flight attendant that came through on a regular. We got to know each other really well, and she goes, "Yeah, the lady with the turkey flew all the time on business," and I said, "It doesn't look like it has a leash or a harness on it." She goes, "No, it just sat there." She goes, "It's actually better behaved than some of those ESA dogs." I said, "Okay." So anyways, it is what it is. I'm not passing judgment, but it ruined it for everybody else, right? The planes got to be Noah's Ark and everybody was in fights, and it was not safe for you to sit with two untrained dogs that have never been in a plane, never been out of the apartment, two big dogs. Flight attendants got hurt, people got hurt. So it ruined it for everybody. There's only one airline, I can't remember which one now, but right now, no ESA animals have the right to fly in the US. Okay, except for one airline. So service dogs can go where they're part of, their owner's disability. They're part of the program to help them with that disability, and they're allowed to have public access, but not ESA. They have some rights under the Fair Housing Act. Therapy dog, we just talked about, but I just wanted to clarify that because there's so much misinformation. There's not, comfort dog is just a cute name. Support animals. I mean, those are all just made up names. So these are international terms that people use that are the correct terms. So Pet Partners is the gold standard. That's why North Star, 17 years ago, we had our first steering committee meeting when the bridge collapsed. And guess what? Even before we'd even started the group, 2 of our people with registered therapy dogs were there with the kids on the bus before the parents even got there with the dogs. And the parents said, "Oh, thank God you guys were here." So, I mean, that was even before we even got organized, right? Now we're really organized. So anyway, so they're the national umbrella. So Courtney, show the badge to people. Just hold your badge. So raise your hand. Anybody that's in insurance? Anybody in insurance here? Okay. So guess how much general liability insurance we have per incident if something happened with Ruby, like she attacked you. Pardon? Oh, 2 million. Oh, okay. That's higher, but it's 2 million. So for my little guinea pigs to go to Children's Hospital, if they did anything, which they haven't, but if they did, I'm insured for $2 million. That's pretty good insurance, don't you think? Yeah, okay, good. I didn't even pay him. Have an extra roll though. All right, so about 3 million visits annually. They're in 15 different countries. So we're the local group, and we're our own entity, our own nonprofit, but we choose to be associated with Pet Partners because they're the best. And we believe in protecting people. There's a lot of startup organizations that I would go with if you have fragile populations with what you know is good. We're in over 100, way over 100 places because we have so many people going everywhere. And these are just some of them. These are some of our activities, and all the photos in here are all our dogs. They're not off the internet. These are all our animals. That's my Karen Terry. I put some of my animals in, it's kids, So we do a Therapy Dog Thursday at the Mall of America. So you can walk with a therapy dog, the walkers before the stores open. We do lots of libraries. I think we're in, 4 different counties for libraries, lots of library programs. If you have grandkids, or you have your own kids, or you have, neighbor kids or something, just have them look up the local library. There's a lot of reading programs. It's free and it's fun. It's really fun for the kids. We do a lot of community events. If Rotary ever has a community event, I'm telling you, invite us to come because you will get people at your booth. You will. If you've got a dog there, people come. Yeah, so there you go. That's how we were talking, weren't we? About, yeah, we know each other from, tell them you had a therapy dog. Yeah. No, you trained the dog. I was just, a little help from your friends. Yeah, so it's great fun, isn't it? Yeah. So anyways, we do a lot of community events. I think everybody names them Bark in the Park, don't you think? It's just crazy. Okay, so there's a lot of physical benefits, and Dr. Cragen down at Mayo Clinic about 15 years ago actually prescribed a prescription pad, take one poodle, call me in the morning, No, he does. He has it in his book, How Not to Be a Patient at Mayo Clinic, kind of thing. He's a great doctor. But the blood pressure studies came out in the 80s that when you pet a dog, that it lowers your blood pressure. And I have a gift for anybody that's owned. Now, they haven't done a lot of research on other species. That's why we're not talking cats and rabbits and things. But I have a gift for anybody that's ever lived with a dog. We all live 1 year longer than other people. It's a pretty solid study. We live 1 year longer. Right now, the gift for everybody in here is Ruby. Just the presence of a dog, even if you haven't pet her, lowers your blood pressure. And I was in a 3-year longitudinal study at the VA with a recovering alcoholic group that they were just measuring with a dog, the group, and without a dog, the group. And that was a really solid research study that the VA is very rigorous on their standards. That's just one of them that came through with that. So everybody, you feeling calm? Ready to start the busy day? So there's a lot of these different endorphins released to mitigate pain, all that type of thing. There's a ton of physical benefits from therapy animals. Psychological benefits, reduces stress and anxiety, reduces symptoms of depression, stimulates communication, enhances mental awareness, increases self-esteem. And as a school counselor, I saw that so much. And I got twice as many child protection cases. I had Coco, my rescue husky, running with a pack of dogs in Cokato and chasing the farm animals, the sheep and the chickens and everything. She was 2 years old and been rehomed like 3 times. And she was like, I don't know. We made this connection at some Petco adoption day, and the rest is history. And she was just a rock star. Saw us through 9/11. When the principal was in South Dakota and didn't know about this because there was no cell phone coverage at the time. It was really bad coverage. And so we were running the whole school, and the dog was there comforting the staff because we were all huddled inside the office going, what in the heck is happening? You know, and Coco was there. And then she came for the rest of the week and the week after, where she came about 3 times a week. So, I mean, I've just seen the power of the paw with psychological problems with the kids that I worked with throughout the years. It's amazing. So these are all some of our animals. Oh, we didn't know we were going to get so many people. That's the Plymouth Library. It's a program I run because I live in Plymouth, and we just thought we'd do it for the preschool kids, you know, like have the Ann Dudney books, you know, Llama's my mama or whatever, you know. And so we had the librarian reading that, and we brought the llamas in. 150 people in a room. Any fire people in here? That fire code was like 60. So we opened the doors, and the lead librarian, she goes, well, they're little, you know. So you stack them up, you know, we're clicking these kids as they're coming with their parents. And she goes, yeah, you know, okay, well, it's only an hour, we're fine. So that was great. But what is the first time they ever had every single book? They put out like 50 books always, you know, when we go read, so the kids can check out the books. Every single book was gone. Every single one. It's the first time. How cool is that? So anyways, and then just different species. And I do an LLC. I have an LLC too, and I visit with day treatment center teens in the summer, and I bring in all the different species to them. And they love the llamas, but we start with guinea pigs. Okay, that's one of my guinea pigs, and that's not the. And I have signed releases, by the way, on all these photos. So just so you know, and the teenager that I was at one of the day treatment center teens held the guinea pig just like this young lady is. And she had this bright purple hair before anybody was doing colors in their hair. And she goes, this is the most peaceful I've felt in months. Okay. That heart congruence with that little animal. I mean, it's just amazing. So these are the that we have fun at the state fair. Let's see if I have. We have just like this group, a wealth of very talented people. And our vice president wrote this book for the state fair, and we do read to a breed. We're there about 5 times, and we do different presentations from the cat day to demos to doga. So dogs with yoga up on stage for the Mental Health Awareness Day. And so anyway, so this is a book that was written, and these are the animals, and I could read to an alpaca or a mini or a rabbit or whatever. So right at the fair, and then get a free book about their experience. How cool is that? I mean, we got all these talented people. It's just a gift to be with them. Oh, and Governor Waltz came right after the doga. And so he was impressed. So we talked him into proclaiming it's statewide. April 30th is National Therapy Animal Day, just so you know, around the country. So he proclaimed it as a national day and did a state proclamation for us. Isn't that great? So he was there. That's his dog, Scout. Scout's a lot bigger now, though. Yeah. And he was a rescue. Yeah. So anyways, our first cat at the airport was up there on the left, and that's Stitches, and she's a big fluffy, loves to be pet. And there's some great videos. If you have a cat, just go on Therapy Cat at MSP, and you can see some of these great videos and news programs did on this first cat at the airport. And we have 100 dog teams out there. So when you travel, go lower your blood pressure. So if you don't miss your plane, but go pet a dog and just ask if the volunteer does, are the dogs out in the mall area or Concourse C, or where are the dogs today? They're not going to be there at 7 in the morning, right, Courtney? No, but you know, during regular hours and stuff, you might find the dog teams out there. So it's very fun. And now Lucy is out there. She's a Siberian cat. And so I stood in front of this sign with my little Cairn Terrier, and for 3 years, and I did visiting out at the airport. We helped start the program, and we're the first team out there. And I'll tell you guys, okay, the sign says pet me. And so, okay, so you stand there with the dog, they walk over and they pet the sign. I can tell you, it was like 9 times out of 10 adults, you know, just like the kids, mom, dad, you just pet the dog, you know. So it's very fun, but it helps de-stress and get people going. Here's visiting at the hospital. That's Dee Dee, who helped start the VA program in the polytrauma unit, where I've been visiting with my Huskies and my Terrier for, I don't know, 12 years, I think, maybe. And then Children's Hospital, I've been there about 7 in Minneapolis. That's my guinea pig, and I have permission to use this photo. But I'm not, I can tell this little boy's story because that would not be okay. But I thought, well, you know, guinea pigs, right? Guinea pigs, dogs, okay, you know. And so we had a lot of Muslim students in Hopkins, and they would be excluded. When I went to East Lake Library and read, they'd be excluded. And I went to a conference and they talked about guinea pigs. My mom was terrified of rodents, but I thought, well, guinea pigs, you know, I'm not living with my mom anymore. So I can get some guinea pigs. I couldn't believe it. It was great. Kids that are allergic, kids that are afraid, you know, kids that can't touch dogs. It was great. And they're very, very social little animals. They're the only domesticated rodent. The others aren't. And so if you handle them and you work with them, there's 20 exercises my guinea pigs go through. They have a little harness and leash. They don't walk on the floor. But so it was one of the first visits at Children's Hospital. And I was in there and I was on the side that didn't have the IV for this little girl. And I had her brushing with a little Winnie the Pooh brush. I had long hair guinea pigs. And then she was feeding carrots, you know, and they're very cute when they eat and everything. And the nurse came in, there's a procedure where she had this big tube, I don't know, and suction, and I don't know, but she had like 10 minutes of some painful things she'd been having for like 2 weeks. And so I said, well, you know, I have a rodent, I'm going to leave, you know. And the nurse said, no, stay. So I said, all right, sure. So I'm on the opposite side. I've got a clean towel there. I've got the guinea pig in a little bed, and so on and so on. So I did, and she's laughing, giving guinea pigs, whatever. And then I left the room after that was done, and we were going to the next room. And the mother followed me out into the hallway, and I thought, oh no, I did something wrong. She goes, can I just tell you something? And she starts tearing up. She goes, that's the first time my child hasn't screamed and cried during that procedure in 2 weeks. Can you come back tomorrow? Power of the pig, right? Who knew? Who knew? But they're really small. They get up close and personal, and they can hold them. And there's just a place for them in the world. So that's why they only live 5 to 7 years. So if you want to do this work, it's a good animal to invest in. My neighbor's cat's 21, and my last terrier was 17, you know. So, but guinea pigs are very special. And if you have a dog that's friendly, that isn't going to growl at other dogs, likes people, likes to get out and about, think about doing this work. It's a great retirement. We have a lot of people retired, and we have a lot of people that are really stressed at their job, and it's a really nice break from whatever they do during the day to go volunteer and just relax and visit with their animal. It's a win-win. So think about that. Okay. All right. So here we go. So here, if you squint, you can see Courtney right here with Zelda, correct? And Zelda's retired now. She's a senior and she lives at home. And you were visiting. What were you doing there? Hennepin was a de-stress event. Was that during the pandemic lockdown? Yeah. Okay. All right. And that's, you go to HCMC, right? Yeah, on a regular basis. Yeah. A couple times a week. And then we did not sit still during the pandemic like other groups that were similar to ours. We did over 100 nursing home parades and visits. And window visits, we put the lick mats on the windows and see the husky there licking the peanut butter off the lick mat. And the people just got a big kick out of that. And then we'd do tricks outside the windows. We'd be there in the snow too. We brought alpacas, llamas. Can you imagine? I mean, these poor people locked in these, residence halls and, whatever. So we did over 100 of those during the pandemic. And then these are the libraries, counties that we read in, and we try to offer the alternative species for the kids. That's one of my kiddos with the rabbit there. You can't, it kind of looks like a dog, but it's not, it's a little bunny. And then it just broke our hearts, the George Floyd riots and what they did to the library, that many of us had visited at. I'd been at East Lake with my second husky for quite a while. And on the top, it's all boarded up. And then on the bottom, you can see that it gradually got rebuilt over a year. But we felt bad. Here we have a pandemic, right? And then we have kids that aren't in school, that are virtually learning. Mary Pat can relate to this, right? That's tough with teens. Whoa. And then they don't have a library to access outside pickup or anything with resources. So we went to work during that too, and we did a big fundraiser. We did a big collection of 2,000 books, gently used from our group and new ones from different people that just donated them. And we went to, this is Lucy Laney, and let's see, I think you're in this picture too, Courtney. Well, you really have to squint, right over here. There's Zelda and Courtney. That's where we first met, I think. It's Lucy Laney. So we just picked contacted Minneapolis Public Schools, talked to some nice people, and put it out there to the elementary schools. And we were in 3 for virtual reading. Okay, and so we had probably, I don't know, 6 or 7 classrooms, and then we did reading things with the animals on the virtual. And some of the kids got to meet the dogs at Lucy Laney when we came. And this one little girl, her dad was a security guard, actually. She ran over and she just hugged this golden retriever. Sully, I've been wanting to meet you forever, and she's just so dramatic about it. And it was so great. And we gave away books to kids, because the number one thing the kids don't have are books at home that are theirs. Okay. And these kids have really fallen far behind. So we did a couple summer schools in Minneapolis and one in Hopkins, and we gave away all the books. And it was an outside event. So we didn't sit still when we were locked down. We had to keep moving. We have animals. They don't let us sit still, right? Yeah. So we did that. And then we also, Pet Partners, our group, has a lot of collaborations with top groups, the National Health Institute, the FEMA. So they have, in collaboration with FEMA, we have specially trained, psychologically first aid trained handlers and dogs with pet partner badges that have to be calm, like Ruby here, and go into different situations. And we've been at triple suicide in one of the West Suburb schools for about a week. We were, the college in the Twin Cities area had a sport person commit suicide in the locker room, and they came off the field and found the person, the team did. So we were there for about a week. A child in a special needs room outside of the Twin Cities died suddenly in the classroom. And so the dogs were called in. So that's the type of thing we do, not earthquake response or something like that. But so that again, you're going to get the top trained dogs, and the handlers have all been FEMA trained for animal assisted crisis response, if that's applicable. We have fun too. If you ever want to do this, we have a picnic and we have bobbing for hot dogs for the dogs. And Fido says, Simon says, and we could sing this song too. I think this would be good. How much is the dog even? We see if our group can do a round. I'm not sure. So that was our picnic in the summer. So anyways, North Star Therapy Animals, we just appreciate the opportunity to let you know a little bit more about these animals and get the right information out there. That's really kind of our goal today, is get the right information out there. And then if anybody wants to learn more about this, I do a Zoom intro every 8 weeks. So if you just go to our website, and I left little cards on the table with our website on, And just do the contact us and just say, hey, I'm wondering about, the Zoom intro. Well, I'm wondering about more information. Hey, I've got a mother that really likes poodles in a nursing home. They don't have therapy dogs. Does anybody have a poodle? Oh, Guy does. Oh, he's got a really nice poodle. Does anybody have a nice poodle that come visit my mom one time? We get a lot of that. And if there's somebody that can do it, they'll do it. Okay. All right. So any questions, or I think we're out of time, right? Yeah. Time. Okay. So any questions? Yes.
Can a therapy dog be trained for? Can a therapy dog be trained as an epilepsy dog too?
So great question. Can a therapy dog also be trained as a seizure alert dog? So yes and no. Okay. So Pet Partners is the only national organization that will allow a service dog to also wear the hat of a therapy dog. However, so the 3 people I've tested over the years that had service dogs, Can-Do Canines, 2 of them, and Helping Paws, 1 of them, were more mobility disability. Okay. And so one person was a volunteer at Mayo Clinic. And so she had her standard poodle wear the service dog vest, and he did his thing when she went to the desk where she sat for 2 hours. Then she would change the vest to the Pet Me vest. And then he knew that this is my job here and this is my job there. So it has to be worked out with the evaluator and with Pet Partners, ahead of time. It's very difficult for the diabetic alert or seizure alert dogs because they have to be on duty 24/7. So it's a little different with that. So I think it would be very, very hard. It would take away from the person if somebody's petting the dog and I start having a seizure or something. So I would not do it with that type of dog. But yes, you can have a service dog be a therapy dog, but it has to be very clear so to the dog too, and not detract from the job they're supposed to be doing. So great question. Yeah. No. Dogs that like to work and good handlers, like Courtney's had Ruby out twice already, and I think some sausage was involved. No, just kidding. So good handler knows when their dog is stressed or when they're not enjoying it or if it's too much. So good handler, that's part of the training. It's not, you all know that have dogs, it's not about the dog, it's about the handler, right? And that's why I gave all the credit to everybody else, when they train with me, I said, no, but it's about me learning to be a better handler, not the dog learning to be better. So yes, sir.
You referenced Can-Do Canines and the other ones. Do you get in a position to refer people to those organizations that might, because again, you're going there with therapy and then ultimately some folks might need a service dog themselves full time.
Yeah, that's another great question. So at the VA, we have had, and I don't organize it, the volunteer staff person does, but they have the different organizations come in when they're needed. So I also visit in the spinal cord injury unit. And so they'll have them come in and demo, what the dogs can do. And the waiting lists are so long, they don't like to drum up more business. The waiting lists are 3 to 5 years. So, but yeah, so we're in friendly terms. We used Helping Paws space for, I don't know, 5-6 years, I think, for our meetings, whatever. But there's a lot of people in our group too, well, a handful of people, I should say, that also do fosters for service dogs. They might have their own therapy dog that they go out and visit with, but they take the puppies, golden retriever, lab puppies, whatever, and then they take them to the training and do all the fostering and for 2 years, whatever, before they're placed with an owner. So there's a good relationship that our club has with the different service dog programs. Yeah. Any other questions at all? I'm happy to answer them. And I'll hang out a little bit here. And Courtney, is she good? Yeah. Okay. And we'll hang out here, and we've got our website there. So if you have any questions, somebody will answer you right away and contact us, and we're happy to help. So thank you. Thanks for your time.
Don't go away. Patty, I want to I want to thank you for your presentation. It was very interesting, and I know you support children literacy,
Oh, yeah.
children reading, and so do we. And we partner with a organization named Way to Grow. And we are going to ask you to, we have a couple of books that we're going to ask you to sign, and we will then give that to an at-risk student to have of their own. As a memorial to your presentation here, we have pens with your name on it and City Lakes Rotary for you to take home.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Patty, Courtney, and Ruby. Also want to thank our wonderful guests and visiting Rotarians for joining us today. But our volunteers, greeter Keith Soquist, reflection from Jonathan Hobbs, vocational and Zoom master Anna Coskren, day chair Dick Mossman, Brock for supporting, and Greg as well for our Zoom masters, and then also Dick as our club admin today. So next week, one of our most popular annual programs is back. Sharon Bloodworth will give her annual financial outlook. Sharon is the CEO of White Oaks Wealth Advisors, one of the largest independent investment women-owned advisory firms in Minnesota. Sharon has been a member of Rotary Club number 9 for 19 years and was recently elected governor of our district 5950. She actually follows our very own Julie Grape over there. So she'll be here next week. February 22nd, Justin Grammons will present on applications of computer vision and the future of work. And then I get to present on March 1st with our state of the club. So please join us for those. With that, go out and have a wonderful Rotary week.